have to allow yourself to be burned by these experiences, to be consumed by the fire, so that you can go no or yes, and really feel that in your body and be strong enough to then be unapologetic.
Yes.
Or you care about my kid crying, or fuck off. Like, go somewhere where there's no kids crying. And I would really encourage everyone to watch some sort of video compilation on mothers in the wild. That instinct, that fierceness, that power to protect, that's all in you.
Yeah.
Welcome, Quanta folks. This is part 2 of the conversation with Riona Seehusen from Bellagreen Organics. She is an incredible, formidable mother of 5, a organic and biodynamic farmer on the Bellarine Peninsula, and someone who is really demonstrating how beautifully, simple and eloquently we can provide service to community in a way that is quite unexpected. She brings together mothers and their children free range at the farm and get their hands dirty. But more than that, she creates really meaningful connections for women of young children who would otherwise be quite separated from society because we try and do so much as women these days, modern women in the Western world. So let's hear more from Riona Seehusen from Bellagreen Organics. Enjoy the rest of the conversation.
Sometimes I'm at the farm and you know, like it is a working farm. I do like, that is how I make a living there, by producing veggies.
Yeah.
It's a shit ton of work. And sometimes I'm there and you know, each kid will like need something different. And so we'll spend like 2 hours talking through this issue or addressing this issue. And part of me is like, oh God, never gonna get any work done. And then like, I think that's also the blessing and the curse of being connected, is that it's not linear. It doesn't work like that. But that, like, we've all these things, like, you know, how you're meant to work, how you're meant to show up as a mother, how you're meant to show up as a woman, how you're meant to be productive is so defined by like this very masculine linear way of doing things. And to be fair, that is not the traditional masculine at all. Like,
So what is then?
The traditional masculine is, do you know that like the origins of the word husband?
No, I always learn something from you, so please give me something else.
Housebound.
Oh, housebound.
Yes.
Well, let's not do that.
Well, the idea is...
I mean, I would not love to be housebound.
Well, you're not the husband.
Oh, okay, good.
The husband. As in, like, that was the person
Oh,
that was...
so he's tied to that.
Was tied to the home.
Yeah.
He was responsible
Protector,
for the
provider.
livestock.
Yes.
The farm.
Okay.
This is when we were, you know...
Yeah. We were actually producing,
Like
working
it's
from
an old
home.
English word. Everyone was, you know, rural. Everyone was... You had livestock, you know, cows and sheep or chickens, whatever. Like that space
So
holding.
interesting.
Yeah, this like very unhinged, sort of delineated, dissociated idea of productivity is very new. Like we could talk about productivity or we could talk about creativity. I think what productivity is trying to harness is actually creativity. But
I agree.
often if we look at people who are really creative, they're often creative in very strange ways.
Yes.
At very strange times of day.
Yes.
Like one of my friend's mum gave their kids this very cute book about Einstein and his life.
Oh, yeah.
And the things that he liked to do, like he got his best ideas while eating ice cream, not wearing socks, going for a walk. Like, you know, like he wasn't in an office.
Yeah.
Like that's not productive in the creative sense. That's not productive in like what we are actually looking for when we say, let's be productive. Unless you want to talk about like, you know, household chores, and then you're on kind of a completely different kettle of fish.
I feel like what we call productive these days, though, is just a really excellent PR campaign for enslavement.
Yes.
Yeah. Enslavement and servitude. And,
Yes.
and you're getting paid a pittance, then you hand a chunk of it back to the government for them to misuse. So,
Yeah.
often that stuff, people try and empower themselves with that. But really, I honestly believe the cells in their body call bullshit on it, which is why they hate it, right? It's why they create disease for themselves. And so in terms of how men can rock that, because they're still working in operating within a society that is now hoodwinked into this version of productivity. It's about then, I guess, them having their heart at home, as in having that awareness and knowing that if they do go to work off site, they're going to work to provide for the family, and it's part of how they participate in the family and show their love.
Yeah, I had a friend, a very dear friend, who moved away, and she was very Christian. Like the whole family, they were very religious, and we had really awesome conversations about God. And I love hearing people talk about what really, fills them up like that.
Yeah.
But we often talked about, so like obviously within Christianity, you have X values around family and marriage in particular. And so we often talked about like how, and this is, again, like this is also part of the apologetic or unapologetic mothering or parenting, how really once you become a family with somebody, once you have a child with somebody, like you're linked to that person for life, regardless of, the relationship you're in. But if you have chosen consciously to be a family unit, that really you become yourself a satellite to that family unit.
Yeah.
So your purpose, your giving, like it feeds back into the family. And then I've talked to a lot of people who maybe, they've just had their second child and they're really struggling, because I found that to be the hardest transition.
Yeah.
Going from 1 to 2 is very hard. It's, you've doubled.
I call it triple the workload.
Yeah.
Double the kids, triple the workload.
Yeah. Yeah. And you haven't kind of like got the rhythm of family.
Yeah.
Because it's just you and one other person.
And you haven't farked enough shoulds at that point too.
Yeah.
I think there's still a lot of conditioning that's
There's a
present.
lot of conditioning, and it is quite overwhelming. The first little while I found with 2, and so but once you kind of move beyond that, I tell people going from 2 to 3 and beyond is relatively easy, because the family, it's like, it's not the nicest thing to use like a business analogy here, but you kind of go from like being an individual to being an entity. It becomes a separate entity.
Yes, it does.
You exist within that entity for tax purposes, but it is in and of itself a self-sustaining entity. The children, the parents, it feeds itself almost. And there's like, there's an African saying how you raise one child and then that child will raise subsequent children.
It's been our experience.
Yeah.
Same for you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously within reason, but yes, like that definitely that is the role of the firstborn. I say that as a firstborn.
Yeah, me too. Well, my sisters might not be very happy with their parenting.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But definitely like just that idea of like, things sustain themselves. It's just kind of allowing that space and having that focus of the centrality of the family.
I love that. I mean, it helps just place, I think, what I've done organically, which could be considered through laziness or efficiency with my homeschooling. But, the times where, because my youngest is still not reading fluently, he's almost 11. So I'm really pushing the boundaries of what's socially acceptable with that. And again, working on this basic tenet that he can learn anything he wants. It's his motivation, basically. So he gets to choose. But one of the things was my daughter said to me, you need to help him. Like, he should be reading by now. And I'm like, what now? Anyway, and I said to her, what do you want me to do, man? Like, I'm one person. There's 4 of you plus everything else that's going on. Like, I don't just want to be in service to you guys and certainly not teaching you shit that you don't want to do. Like, I don't want to teach the pig to sing.
Right.
So we got to wait until the pig's ready to become an opera performer or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So one thing that she did, and this is a benefit, and it came from a little bit of my exasperation and frustration, where she said, well, I'll read with him then. And what happened was, again, the gifts of this stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, great. I was just like happy someone else was happy to take the trash out, basically.
Yeah.
So she took on that task. So it created a level of accountability for her without being a full-on mother, just a little bit of tweaking in that.
Yep.
But also, he's completely different when he reads with her. If I suggested to him, he's like, blah, 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 fight.
Yeah.
With her, he's like, oh, yeah, let's
Of course,
do it.
the big sister. It's cool, right? It makes it fun and
That's right.
a thing to do, yeah.
But if I hadn't have just gone, you know what, let's just see where this one goes.
Yeah.
The entity of the family wouldn't have actually shown itself to be what it is because, you know, as mothers, we often feel like it's just us, and it is just us at the start. And I think the ego can enjoy being that saviour, being the central point of contact for everyone in the house. You know, like McGill never used to make decisions without checking with me because he's like, well, you're the CFO as well as kind of the CEO. So he doesn't even know passwords to our bank account. So I've said many times he's up shit creek if I die because, well, he's going to rely on everyone else to look after him. So you may get a phone call if I perish. But yeah, like he just kind of goes, it's fine, like you're there to do it. But I've kind of made the point where part of being an unapologetic mother is actually to infuse everyone with radical self-responsibility of going, I can't be the central node where if I have a break, everything stops.
Yes.
And I think that's where women can, not intentionally, but they get hooked into that drug addiction of being that person.
I don't know whether, I mean, the addiction could be maybe a harsher way of seeing it. I think that for us as a family who really have not had access to any kind of support from our family, that has been a necessity.
Yeah.
And you know how I think, I'm sure you might know this more, but I'm sure there'd be statistics that say that mothers just don't get sick as often because they just can't.
Yeah, of course they can't. Yeah.
Like,
you can have gastro going through the house, but the mum won't get sick.
For that.
Yeah.
So I think that sometimes these things are just born out of necessity. Yep. And I think that we have to remind ourselves that is really unhealthy. That is really unhealthy. Because for the last 4 minutes, so there's this beautiful ecologist, I don't know whether I mentioned her last time. What's her name? Chalice. I can't remember her surname, but her book is called Hi, My Name is Chalice, and I'm in recovery from Western civilization. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it. But she said if human evolution were a basketball court, like what we now consider Western civilization is like a centimetre on that basketball court.
Yeah, right.
So we are not evolved. We have not evolved. We are not currently evolved or equipped to deal with these things in isolation. That's not how we are made at all. The same way we're not made for sitting on our ass, we're literally made for walking. That is our movement.
Yeah. Oh, they're very handy, these legs. Like they make up half the body. You know, they go far.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I think like all of these things, like, not neat, like it is hard and it is shit and it's not normal to be the sort of foundation for all these people. But you end up doing that because that's just a response to fucking a shit situation.
Yeah.
But that's not actually how it's meant to work.
No, of course it's not. Yeah.
Kids are not meant to have one mother.
That's right.
You know, or them, you have one mother. You're meant to have many women who serve the function.
Yeah, all the aunties.
The aunties, or, you know, your grannies or your granny's friends or like... That's how we've evolved to exist in community. And as soon as you even have like an inkling of that, you can feel it. Like we used to go, when my kids were really little, I had 2 other girlfriends who like high school friends, and they had kids of similar ages. And we used to go away together, and then later with my Christian friend who had 5 kids. And we used to go on camp with her and to my friend's house with the other ones. And so there'd be, I don't know, like...
heaps of kids by the sounds of it.
Right? 10 kids, 12 kids with my one with 5 kids by the time I had 5.
Yeah.
And 3 mums. And I felt like all we did, it was like in a bush somewhere. It was like an actual little camp, like through her church we used to go to. We used to sit there. We'd occasionally make some food, but mostly we just sit around and would drink tea together. And the kids would just entertain themselves.
Yeah.
If they were hungry, they'd come.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only time we saw them.
Yeah.
like,
Brilliant.
and then, you know, at bedtime.
We need mother camps.
Yes, we do need mother camps, or we need to kind of like create lives that
Have
are
that
mother
organically.
camps.
Yeah. It's funny because what you're describing, I think that women and mothers need. I'm
Other
seeing
mothers.
it's other mothers, but is actually women who can hold space, who don't get flustered by it as well. So someone in the room needs to know how to Faark should.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was, in terms of what you're describing, I see that in the homeschool community, and I think I don't want to say those kids are better, right? That's not what I'm trying to say, but I see absolute differences in the way kids show up in the community with the kids that are in a homeschool environment and in that homeschool community, and kids who are spending most of their time at school in their full-time work, right?
Yeah.
And because what it is in that space, before I go and offend everyone, is there are a cross-section of ages within them.
Yep.
Ages, abilities,
Experiences.
attention spans, family rhythms,
Family
dynamics,
sizes.
family sizes, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
And what I see is, you know, kids who are, you know, the youngest in their family get to be big brothers elsewhere. And so when you let them have space, they start like doing that kind of teaching, co-teaching, and the co-regulation we're talking about, and all those beautiful, surprising things that one person cannot be the answer for everything. I mean, quite apart from the fact that I'm not going to be the messenger for all of my kids' lessons.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be anyway.
Yeah.
They would get sick of hearing my voice.
Yeah.
So it has to come from other places. And so it's a beautiful thing to see that exist.
Yeah.
And I just want to assure people, if they're thinking about their overwhelmed child and going, oh, I couldn't possibly make a change, there is an opportunity to make change because it just happens organically. The kids have different teachers coming through. And so, we need to emulate that for women so they know that they are not alone.
Yeah.
And this
the other thing that I also like and that I want to add to that exact same social scenario is also because it is often still the mothers that are the homeschooling parent.
Yeah.
And the thing that I really like about the homeschool community, that's been my experience, is that there's a lot of different types of women. There's a lot of different, you know, how they've parented, what their values are, why they parent, all these kind of things are very different. And a lot of them, because they've made a choice to kind of step out of the mainstream, have gone through a lot of kind of processing, like a de-schooling for themselves, that makes it clears the path to creating that community much easier, because you're not there like replicating different aspects of the school system. Whereas when I engage with a lot of mothers sort of that are in the school system, you know, through kids sports and stuff like that, honestly, sometimes I kind of feel like I'm going back to high school in the way that women relate to each other, like the way we infantilize each other, the bullshit we talk about with each other. Like I feel like, you know, a lot of the times, like, we're just our own worst enemy in those situations. And it's so sad to think that, you know, woman A can be, you know, really suffering under, you know, the stress and the isolation and stuff like that. But she's, you know, doing all the physical things right and stuff like that. And then she will go talk to woman B, you know, in this whatever sport situation or whatever. And woman B is also feeling really isolated. But woman A will feel this need to kind of like put down woman B because of, oh, is your kid not, do you only go to one swimming a week, or I go to 5, or like just whatever bullshit do to kind of make the external, like the apologetic mothering, like, oh, Jodi, your kids don't do piano lessons. Oh, Jodi, your kids don't do like 100 sports a week.
Yes.
Oh, Jodi, your kids can't ride a pony.
Yes.
Like,
they would have a field day with me, can I just say? An absolute field day. Yeah.
Well, that's where the unapologeticness comes in, I think.
Yeah.
You know, that's also experience and age. And this is why we need to be talking to women in different phases of mothering terms.
Yes.
That can be like, listen, in 10 years, none of that shit's going to matter. No one's going to give a fuck whether your 3-year-old could write their own name.
Yeah, that's right.
Like what kind of fucking runners they want.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to give a shit. Nobody's going to care.
I want to assure people it's okay if your child has suffering.
Yeah.
You don't cause the suffering, but it's okay for your child to be uncomfortable because otherwise, what are they doing here? This life, as you say, you got to go through it, right? So if you try and constantly create this panacea against all possible experiences and trauma and only ensure the good, where will their contrast come from? They will create that at some point. And I think that, you know, that need to rescue we've got to wean ourselves off that. You know, there's just too much meddling. One of the things that we did to celebrate our 50th birthdays and our 20th wedding anniversary was we got married again, right? Just for funsies. Yeah. So we signed off for another 20 years, but thank you. But and hilariously, I was nervous. I asked McGill this time, and I was actually really nervous he might say no. He's going, as if I'm going to say no. I'm like, yeah, but when you ask the question, no is an option. But one thing we did was I immediately booked a trip away without the kids because I'm like, great, Kid 1 is 18. I don't know if you're going to be okay with this kid, but we're going to go away for a week. Yeah. And we did. And the kids, they had their things that went on, but I made sure we were so far away we couldn't save them. Yeah. And they didn't have like this, you know, conveyor belt of people checking on them. Yeah. There was a few people that had a little eye on them. Yeah. But they were basically like thrown into the jungle, you know, and it was in the jungle at home with a fully stocked fridge.
Up in the jungle.
Yeah, well, that's exactly
resilient in the jungle.
They are. But I just want to assure people they are far more capable than we even think. And I mean, I'm pretty happy to throw my kids in the deep end within reason. So they even wowed me, and I'm like, what are parents not giving themselves the opportunity to witness in their children? Because what will happen is their kids will turn 18, everyone will consider them an adult, and you'll be like, holy shit, I have not prepared this kid. They haven't got the basic tenets of what it is to be an adult, but everyone expects them to be an adult.
Do you feel like there's a lot of people in this world that have the basic tenets of being an adult?
No. Do you? No. I don't see a lot of evidence around it.
I shit didn't expect that from my 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, I know plenty of adults that don't know that.
Yeah, but your 18-year-old is in your entity. That's a different situation. Yeah. It's a different situation. And so I think that, you know, we're certainly, both you and I are on the pathway of raising good humans. You know, I see that in our kids. Well, touch wood, but if not, it's not on us, right? You know, it's just despite our best efforts.
Honestly, I'm a big believer in measuring kids' health through the parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not in a judgy way. Again, just in a responsibility way. We saw this guy talk about like how if you have a fruit tree and the fruit is diseased, you wouldn't be angry at the fruit. You would look at the health of the tree.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So
I'm going to appropriate that one too.
Yes,
that's a goodie.
Yes, because there is definitely responsibility in parenting, and a lot of that is very uncomfortable, and your children will always reflect certain elements of maybe the things that you didn't want to deal with. Like if I meet a kid and again, it's not about being judgy or anything, but I can kind of, you can tell from the children maybe some of the things that the parents wanted to avoid. A lot of the things that I saw like in earlier times was the parental need to be liked by their child. So they were unable to set really fucking basic boundaries for their kid. Like, no, you can't snatch shit. No, you can't hit other kids. You can say thank you. Like, you're not going to have a fucking tantrum and wreck other people's stuff. Like, you know, we're going to, we're going to have some really basic manners here. But that requires effort. Yeah. It's going to be pushback from your 2-year-old. Yeah. No, you can't have Johnny's apple. We're going to give that apple back. Yes, you're going to cry and scream. Yeah. We'll figure out a different thing to do.
Yeah. Or I'm not just going to buy you a sweet because you're throwing a tantrum.
Right. Although that is very helpful, and like in that situation and
Yeah.
just fucking do whatever. Do whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, yes and no, and I'm conscious
Debrief later.
Yeah. Well, that's true, but I have talked a long time about playing the long game.
Yeah.
And I think with my kids, I have not blinked with some things, right?
Yeah.
So some things I go, all right, we're ready to make an adjustment, but I've never bought them anything at the checkout,
Yeah,
right?
good on you.
So I've never done that. We didn't have TV when they asked for it. If they asked for it, they didn't get it.
Yeah. I think if you set those things up
Those
from the
things,
start,
yeah,
then
we
it
do
just
all of
becomes
it.
normal.
Correct.
Yeah.
It makes for a much nicer parenting journey,
Yeah.
I have to say.
Yeah.
Like there are some things where you just don't get nagged. And
because you've set the standard, you've set the
Yeah.
boundary. We're going to go into this shop,
Yeah.
we're going to have a look at the toys, and then
Yeah.
we're going to walk out.
yeah.
That's how we do things in
Yeah.
our family.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Well done you. That's
I
an
mean-
impressive one.
Yeah. For us, it was like the op shop or whatever. We go have a look, we play with the things,
Yeah.
we put it back. We
Yeah,
walk
good. Oh, it's like a
But-
toy library you don't take home.
But if you set these things up from the start,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, kids have chances. They actually don't expect yeses all the time. And in fact, if you give them yeses all the time,
They'll probably just expect more.
they expect it. But more than that, there's no delight when they get the yes.
Yep.
Because they actually want to know that someone capable is actually in a place of oversight for them, you know. So if it's a free-for-all, like my kids have talked about, imagine if we owned a pizza shop, friends owned a pizza shop. Imagine if we owned a pizza shop, we'd eat pizza all the time. And I went, would you appreciate it?
Yeah.
Well, no, but that's not the point.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
well,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So, you know, they're meant to be juvenile because they're young. I still think they have answers for themselves.
Yeah.
But we all do. And as you say, the fruit tree must know of its own divine ability to be healthy and produce beautiful fruit. And so if we can infuse that into our parents,
Yeah.
what a great starting point.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And just, I think just the importance of creating a functioning mirror for parents, and especially like my focus is always mums, and especially like mums with younger kids, because that's just what I found really challenging. And I think that a big part of everything that I do is just wanting to show up as the person I wish I had had then.
Yeah.
To just kind of talk you through these things and to give you a perspective on things. And I tell people all the time, honestly, like my youngest is 8 now, my oldest is 18, and like I see mums with their prams and and I miss those messy, you know.
yeah.
And it
Me
is really
too.
hard, and it
Yeah.
is drudgy, and you're in the thick of it, and you feel completely out of control. But honestly, I feel like those are kind of the times you go back to. And I had a mum who the kids used to play tennis with, who worked in aged care, and she said every single woman with dementia would go back to the early years of mothering, because they would have like dolls in the house, and they would sit there and they would like breastfeed these dolls.
Wow.
All the old women.
Wow.
All
That's
of them.
fascinating, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Because you go back to, you know, that sticky, murky, like delicious time in your life where you're just kind of covered in some sort of
Something.
excrement of, you know, yours or another person's.
That's the truth of it.
Yeah, I think, and like, I genuinely feel sad that we are robbed of that. I wish someone had have told me that, like, that exhale, that pause, that stillness, just sit in that phase. Just enjoy that phase. Because again, what if we reframed our thinking like,
Yeah. It's the time to do it.
Yeah.
If you can snatch that time.
yes,
Yeah.
it's so special. Like anything, you know, from, and we talked about like many months ago, we had this conversation, like, where do you start this education?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you start when you become a mother. If
Yeah.
you didn't have that,
Yeah.
if you didn't have that, then you start when you become a mother, and you just like inoculate that into your children.
Yes.
This is your instinct. This,
Yes.
and you model it.
Yes.
That's how you raise them. Like, no, if you have daughters, this is how your body functions. This is how your birth is going to be one of the best things I ever got from my mother is the knowledge that I was an easy birth at home, and my sisters were too.
Yeah.
So I went into pregnancy going,
Expecting that.
oh,
Yeah.
easy,
I don't
2
know.
hours done.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like,
wow, that's
that was just
a nice one.
That was just how I went into it, because that was my normal. And I
Yep.
think we talk about in our family a lot, like just always having that awareness of like what becomes normalized, what is
Yeah.
normal for you,
Yeah.
what is your what is your kind of active currency in the world right now, what are you perceiving, how do you feel everything, how do you see it, what's your moral compass, because the normal, it becomes okay,
Yeah.
it becomes
Yeah.
just how things are. It becomes your water if you're the fish. And next thing you know, you don't notice that this shit is not normal. You start to kind of like personalize these things. Like with the postpartum depression.
Yeah.
It's not normal. It's not a reflection of your capacity. It's not a reflection of your capacity to bond.
Yeah.
It's not a reflection of your capacity to mother. It's a reflection of the complete failure
Yeah.
of society
Yeah.
to women in
Yeah.
their most vulnerable state.
Especially when there's evidence overseas of it not being the case.
There's evidence for the last 4 million years. When the fuck did this idea of
Yeah.
postnatal depression pop
I
up?
think when we started monetizing it. Anyway, that's another podcast.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But just, what is, like, with all mothering, like, just because you can cope with shit, and,
Yeah.
some women can and some women can't.
Yeah.
But just because you can
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't
No,
mean it's how it should
It's just
be.
conditioned trauma.
Right. Like, so I think just that awareness for people who have a lot of strength or like gusto, or like you obviously have had that. I feel like I've had that capacity to push through really heavy shit.
Yeah.
Like, just because somebody can't do that, that
Yeah.
means they're actually probably healthier.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
They're probably healthier than you.
Yeah.
Because the veil of what is okay and what isn't okay is probably clearer to them. And their body is just saying, no,
That's
this
right.
isn't right.
Yeah.
This isn't
I
right.
agree. I think now my modus operandi is to love all of it, including the muck. But whilst it's happening, I give it a 1-star review. It's just, I got to give it a 1-star review. I do call myself a fair weather growth person. I'm just in it for the good bits.
Yeah.
But while the shit is happening, it's worth it on the other side. And we get faster as we do it, right?
If you kind of surrender to that process. I've
Correct.
definitely had a lot of phases
Yeah.
lately where I'm like, I really hate being a conscious human.
Yes.
Give me like
Yes.
a lobotomy right
Yes.
now. I'm sick of this shit.
Yes.
It's like feeling things
Yes.
is for dickheads.
That's it.
Count me out.
1 star.
1 star would not return. But you have to go through that, and yeah, I mean, like, it's baptism by fire. Like, you're
Yeah.
gonna go through it one way or another.
Yeah. Well, I'm working on my addiction to climbing out of the trough and what that feels like. And like, just that has happened. So as you say, that becomes the new normal.
Yeah.
Not necessarily common, but the new normal.
When you say climbing out of the trough, do you mean like before you're ready, but like as a way
No,
of
not
escaping?
before, just knowing that feeling of going, oh, I feel different. I feel
Yes.
better. I feel not in the muck. I feel like I'm actually out of the muck and maybe going closer to a shower and fresh clothes.
Yeah. Yeah. I've just been rereading for the nth time Clarissa Pinkola Estes' Women Who Run with the Wolves.
Yeah.
And I honestly would recommend it to everyone. And I love how it has like this big array of mythology. And I feel like at so many different points in your life, you really resonate with a different thing. But like really all of them are just kind of stories of initiation, and then initiation into different and different and different. And that like passing, into the underworld. Like my one that I was reading now was the story of the Handless Maiden, which was like really resonating, and the like loss of power and the going into the underworld and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, like wisdom comes through experience. I think that I don't think that if we just sort of like had a beige experience of motherhood, there would be anything to talk about on a podcast. I think it's really important.
It'd be pretty boring.
It'd be pretty fucking boring. It would be so boring. I think it's important to know, like, that's the power and the responsibility You have to allow yourself to be burned by these experiences, to be consumed by the fire, so that you can go no or yes, and really feel that in your body and be strong enough to then be unapologetic.
Yes.
Or you care about my kid crying, or fuck off. Go somewhere where there's no kids crying. See
Or
how
when
that
were you
world
not
works.
hugged as a child when you cried?
Do you know what I mean?
I
just
agree.
Stepping into that. And I would really encourage everyone to watch some sort of video compilation on mothers in the wild.
Yeah.
Like if you're feeling down on yourself, or if you're feeling beat down by how motherhood is viewed, just watch a compilation. Watch an elephant mum.
Yeah.
If someone comes and tries to fuck with their baby, watch a bear.
Mother Nature often has the answers
100%.
and the evidence.
And the evidence. And then remember, we're an animal too.
Yes.
We're not that far off.
No.
We have that.
No.
It's just that it's been down and pushed and pushed and pushed. And
Well,
that's who you really are.
We've got nicer clothes, but that's about it.
Yeah. But that instinct, that fierceness, that power to protect, that's all in you.
Yeah.
It's just
It
a matter
exists
of
for a
going,
reason.
oh,
Yeah.
all that shit that I was told that I don't have, can't do, should, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Off it goes.
Yeah. And I think, in final thought around that idea, is that once you take the affirmative action that is in alignment, that is as nature intended in that natural expression,
Yep.
everything changes in terms of even how your body feels.
Yes.
And it's your positive feedback.
Yep.
And you just know.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
that was actually a safe maneuver.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely know. And I think that maybe that's that embodiment, I think that's your best guide. Does it feel right? Yes? Okay. Yeah.
So good. Thanks for the conversation. I love hearing from you.
Do it again in 6 months.
We're going to have to do one on birth.
Yeah.
I think the thing, teaching birth, I don't want to start a whole new podcast, but what I will say is one of the things that most of the calm birth, hypnobirthing, even my birth course always references is Ina May's Guide to Childbirth, and the fact that there's so many stories in there of all different births but all empowered. I just think we need more and more of that information,
You know about the movie The Big Stretch too, right?
I haven't seen that
Oh,
one.
Jodi, you would love. They were my favorite. There's 2. I think the second one you can actually find online. It's by Jenny Blythe, an Australian midwife.
Yeah, I know Jenny Blythe. Yeah.
And that I watched that every time I was pregnant, and it's just an absolute joyful experience because they have a lot of different couples, and I think they're almost all of them are home births and sort of with a natural pregnancy vibe, and just joyful birth expression. And also, in an Australian context, it's really nice to see because it kind of makes it very immediate.
Oh, absolutely. I think it really helps to see our neighbours.
Yes.
So I feel like in this podcast bio, we'll just put a bunch of suggestions for all these resources that Riona's had for us. Always brilliant with the suggestions.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for a great conversation. Until next time, Quanta folks, be well.
Hey Quanta folks, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Birth is transformational. And it can be transformational in the right way and in the not so right way. So how do we arm ourselves to be really prepared for this incredible experience? Well, you wouldn't go out and run a marathon without any kind of training. You'd at least do occasional stretches, and the High Vibe Birth course, which is self-paced, available at the QuantiMama.com website, is available for you. You get to luxuriate in all of the ideas and transformational techniques and the beautiful information that can only have a positive effect on your birth. So get fit for your birth marathon and head to QuantiMama for the High Vibe Birth course.